everybody, this is Joshua Hatton with One Nation Under Whisky, extra edition. I am joined today, and mostly as always, partially as usual, somewhat as, like nearly always, I'm going to come up, every time I do this, Jason, I've got to come up with a new version of like me mostly being with you, usually being with you.
That seems like a decent way to say it. I'm happy to be here, though. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, the good old Jason Johnston yelling.
It's so funny. That didn't sound like you got my name right. It's like, he's finished saying my name already? Did he get it right?
Sorry, Jason Neil Patrick Harris Johnston yelling. Is that better?
See, that has the ring to it. That now sounds like, Jason, 5 names. Onwards.
It's been a while. You were on the road. I was on the road.
A little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah. I'll talk about it a little bit more in our conversation with today's guest. There's something relevant to where I was about that. But you throw yours in quick as a whip.
Yeah. So I was recently in Canada. Oh, Canada. Is that how it goes? Anyway, yes, I was in
a hockey playoff match, I assume.
So there was a big hockey game going on.
Yes, there was. I thought about that with your travel.
and they won. And they won. So it's whoever played.
Which city won? Here's
I think
Joshua's first ever sporting question.
I think it was the Montreal hockey players. Is that the name of the team? The Montreal hockey players.
Spot on. Spot on. All Canadian listeners are like, that guy knows his hockey. No doubt about it. Or, sorry, nae doot about it. There you go.
Are they the Maple Leafs? Is it the Montreal Maple Leafs?
Don't start guessing. That's going to get much uglier, much faster.
Anyway, I know there's like a C in the logo, and there's like a horseshoe.
C for
maybe.
Maple Leafs.
Yeah, C for Maple. Anyway. So I was up in Montreal, and Haida joined me. So it was like a work and a little getaway, and we had a lovely tasting with Whiskey Montreal, which is it's a whiskey club that's been around for 12 or 13 years, hosted by Jean-Francois, and he had a great group, and got the loveliest compliment from a couple people, and they said, I've been coming to these regularly, and sometimes I like this one, sometimes I like these, but I don't usually like all. I liked every single one of these whiskeys.
It's lovely hearing that, isn't it?
That was cool. Yeah, that was very cool. That was very cool.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, I think that's the perfect seg, I think.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, perfect seg indeed. I think we need to invite a very special guest.
Very special.
He's not just special. I would argue that he is inimitable. Sam Filmus of ImpEx Beverages.
Where do you find those words, Joshua? I don't know.
I ate a dictionary this morning, Sam.
If there's one man who hates compliments, it's Sam Filmus. So to call him inimitable and have him hear it as he went live in our recording was magnificent.
I did it just for the red face. That was it.
Oh, gosh. How you doing, Sam?
Pretty good. Feel even better now with your jokes and I'm probably not the first one who calls you J&J team, but being around you is a blessing. So
cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
For the invite, and excited to talk whiskey today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cheers. Excited to have you on. I mean, there's so much to talk about. Here we are, Single Cask Nation, 15 years into it this year. And there wouldn't be a Single Cask Nation without you. I think that is a declarative statement that is a true statement. But before we get into that, really curious to know, 15 years ago when Jason and I came to you and said, hey, you know, we're looking to start this independent bottling company. You know, what can we do to help each other out? Or, you know, what was ImpEx doing at that time? What was JVS doing at that time? What did the whiskey world look like through your eyes 15 years ago?
Well, I'm not as good with dates as you are, so I might mix things, but
I'm terrible with dates, Sam. Oh my gosh, this is going to be awful if you're not as good as me.
Jason asked me to compliment him recently. He promised me to send $5 for that. Just making some money.
Let's build them up.
I remember you both. Started with you, Joshua, and then continued with you, Jason. I was reading some tasting notes on some whiskeys that were so weird to me, the way that they were put, and that what probably caught my attention to look further and look deeper and then waiting what's next. Because you were, Joshua, at some point you were comparing the taste with some specific nuts or some jam or something, and you would post that as a picture. Really cool. It was weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking, what is this guy doing? Like, what is he promoting, or what is he trying to say? Like, is it that jam or red fruit, you know, compote or something? It was, and then Jason with whiskey guild, I believe.
Gid Scotch drink.
Yeah. And then
Gid.
I don't remember when you started this gigs tours. Was it parallel to?
Oh yeah.
Or it was before. Like I said, I'm not. But that's how I remember you both coming on this whiskey scene for me.
Cheers.
And then at some point when ImpEx was opened in 2008, I remember me being in Chicago. I believe we had a few beers with Joshua, and I said, "Why don't you like combine business and pleasure? You know, you're so great in being the whiskey enthusiast, but you're selling some, I don't know, cabinets for tool or was some weird thing that has nothing to do with whiskey." And I think you said, "Let me go and ask my wife," and you know, and the wife said yes, and that's why we're probably still in marriage, in happy marriage, I hope.
It was all the times you left the house. Well, to be honest with you, Sam, that's been one of the things for me. Looking back at 2011, when we had come to your door to talk about importation, you know, one of the things for us was not knowing what we didn't know. So to be two guys who were passionate about whiskey, why can't we start an independent bottling company? I look back on that and I just laugh, you know, the chutzpah to just be like, well, why not us? But in coming to you, it felt to me, and I'll only put words in my own mouth, like you felt very well established. And it felt to me like you knew the lay of the land. And so it's always a little surprising to me when I think back when we were having those conversations, you as ImpEx were a couple of years old. And so was ImpEx a new foray into importation, and you had been doing something similar to that before ImpEx? How did you get to look as confident? I've always dreamed about being as confident as Sam Filmus. How did you get to look as confident as you did when ImpEx was still a young entity?
Sure. So I started my career at some point with independent bottlers. So we were bringing Signatory, and we were bringing Gordon MacPhail, and at some point we had Ray David, and at some point we had Maltman and Blackadder and many others. And that's where the category was not very well known. I think you came in 2011 with an age when it was becoming more understood and more popular, but not as popular as it is now, even not close. And I think, just speaking of compliments, you played a huge role in what independent bottle was about for people to understand, even for people from the industry. They're like, why this Macallan label doesn't look like Macallan label, etc. So
yeah, right.
With your enthusiasm, I think it worked perfectly for both companies, and that's what I like when it's a two-way business or two-way relationship where everyone benefits. And plus, just from human, not forget about business. I like doing this. I like being part of it because of you, because of your personalities. And I didn't think about benefits that would come in 15 years or in 5 years and 10 years. It was kind of natural passion that we all shared. And I think that plus at that point, we already had some distilleries in the portfolio, and you, Jason, specifically, while Joshua was orchestrating things, you were just going throughout country and, promoting our OBs, official bottling, and IBs from under Single Cask Nation. And again, it worked perfectly for everyone, including the brands. So that's how I think it started.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I've talked about it before, right? And we've talked about this a little bit with the history, and then we'll talk about some of the current whiskies. We'll bring it right up to date here. Mm-hmm. But I know it was so interesting. You're talking about independent bottling, but I remember in 2010, 2011, 2012, being out in that world with Aaron and Kilchoman and our own IB brand, and people didn't know anything that was on the table. Like it was so wild to say, I came here to do a whiskey tasting and you're interested in whiskey, but you don't know anything about it. It was both exciting and frightening. Mm-hmm. And so it was absolutely that I didn't run into the bias around independent bottling because people didn't know what official bottling was. They didn't quite know who the distilleries were that we were officially putting in front of them. It seemed like everything was possible. That was the opportunity. That was the excitement. Then it was thinking about the road ahead or the mountain ahead. But we worked, and we all worked together, and absolutely personalities meshed. And final compliment, and then we'll move on to other compliments. But that was one of the things for me, was seeing you as a sensible, savvy businessman who was passionate about the category. I really loved that aspect of you, Sam, where it didn't feel like, and you just said this a moment ago, it didn't feel like there was a quick buck in front of you or an opportunity to turn this around, make us successful and make money off the back of it. It was another place to get whiskey. Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Let's work on that. So I always felt like we were all on the same page. Really cool.
Sure. I'll call it a teamwork. It's a real teamwork. Right. And it all was based on passion and enthusiasm and excitement, what's new. And it was a great page in my life, I would say. So
sweet. And as I sit at my desk working, Sam, you're keeping an eye on me every day. This banner is behind me. And look who gets to be right beside you over here. Oh, look at that. I get to be toasting right beside you, Sam. So cool. So cool.
I look much better on this banner, I told Joshua in Texas, than I look now. So thank you for taking about 30 years off of my
Well, some years we've added it on, so it was nice to use this to take them back off again.
On the serious side, I'm really proud that it worked out the way that it worked out, and we have more plans ahead with you. And as you mentioned at some point, for you to be bringing, I don't know if it's a secret or not, to bring in some distilleries that we import to the United States under your label, and doing some collective efforts in supporting the brands. That's great. I'm very excited.
Wonderful. Yeah, excited to say more about that as the year goes along. But yeah, that was a lovely tease. Lovely. Pro level.
Before we get on to some of the whiskeys that we're tasting, I want to talk a little bit about the journey, because the journey wasn't straightforward. And like I said, you were there from the very beginning, and you were always a yes from the very beginning. If we had a question, if we needed a favor, if we needed help, you were always, yes, how can I help? What can I do? And so, early on, we were selling our whiskeys online only. And then come 2017, we had this opportunity to expand the range and have retail bottlings. So at that point, it wasn't just you helping us out. It became, now we were a proud part of the ImpEx portfolio. Now it felt like we're finally grown up. And that was for me, that was a really cool feeling. And, having been part of the ImpEx team for 10 years, almost 11 years, I want to say, I always loved that the team never looked at Single Cask Nation as, oh, that's the side thing. It was always considered a main brand, just like all of the other brands. Everybody had the same importance.
Sorry.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Well, again, a lot of ideas that you brought to the table look weird from the beginning. I want to say that. And probably making it as a public release wouldn't be an exception. However, I was so confident in what you're doing and in your views and your trust in yourselves and the brand that it didn't take me too much to say yes. And it is. I'm very proud to represent this brand in our pretty small portfolio of brands. So.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Well,
Cheers indeed.
just as you're throwing around some dates there, Joshua, that means next year will be the 10th anniversary of retail Single Cask Nation through ImpEx.
Wow.
It was like yesterday, huh?
Absolutely,
Like
yeah.
Holy cow.
The reason I bring it up is it just struck me when you said that. Oh, okay, that's another big number. Nice one.
And speaking of evolution, I don't know if your viewers and listeners see that, but that's the evolution of labels from 2017, I believe, to 2025 that you went through.
Yes.
Oh, let me zoom in so people who are viewing, so our viewers will be able to see this. Sorry, listeners, you'll just have to go to YouTube, but yeah.
So you go
Look at that, there's a hello from the Magic Tavern behind you.
One of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about this specific one, but yeah, it goes all the way to
Big one
2025. That's the Single Cask evolution of labels.
Awesome.
That's so
That does look great. Yeah, listeners, if you get a chance, minute 17 on YouTube, you get to see some really fun labels behind Sam.
Yeah. I love that. I love seeing the evolution there. That's very cool. I appreciate you representing that there.
And I love that you've got Mike Walsh looking over your shoulder there, Sam. I've got Mike Walsh on this shelf, just in that corner over there, and so Mike Walsh is always a part of this office as well, and we continue to miss him.
That's a proof of how small we are, that we can do things like this without asking for 3 signatures to sign off.
Right.
And that's how much
in triplicate
human touch is there. So this is
exactly
another bottle that proudly have in my collection.
Brilliant. That's really cool. Cheers, Sam.
So here we are. We're year 15 into this, and all of us have some whiskey in front of us, and it's a really fun coincidence that the current retail release is retail release 15. Like it's speaking of numbers and fun coincidences there. And so there's 8 different bottlings from this release, and you're not supposed to choose your favorites. Like, right, you don't choose your favorite child. At least you don't tell them that you choose your,
yeah, they know who they are.
But I put a couple to the side here. I'm currently dramming on one, which I knew would be a top whiskey for me. Just as a sister cask of it from a previous release was the top whiskey for me. And then I've got another one as well. And so I figured let's pop some whiskey into our glass. Let's talk about what we have and then continue on with the conversation.
Yeah. So I got some nice oily treat in my glass here. Another one for the viewers to see the oils. But listeners know from a Single Cask Nation, you can rest assured there'll be good oils in your glass.
Yeah. So what I put into my glass is the... Oh geez, I'm using this camera filter, so you can't see it.
Use the back.
Yeah, I'll use the picture. Here we go. Where is it?
You took the time to create it. You should show it off to the viewers.
There we go. The Glen Spey 14-year-old, and this is final 4 years in a Spanish oak Oloroso hogshead. So, people who follow Single Cask Nation who've been buying from our releases, firstly, thank you. Secondly, you might have seen a 13-year-old Glen Spey we released for retail release 14, and it was 13 years old, final 7 years in first fill bourbon. And so this is sort of the opposite end of the spectrum. And, we got this idea from our friend Gene at Warehouse Liquors, where he really likes to show a point counterpoint with whiskeys. So quite often when he does cask picks for his shop, he'll bring in two from the same distillery, and one has this flavor profile, one has that flavor profile. And that was the aim that we took with this one. So you had fresh bourbon on that 13-year-old. And then this just has that rich sherry component that just adds on to the nuttiness and that creamy sort of texture. Like, I knew this was going to be maybe my top one of this release. I don't know. I don't want to make too many declarative statements.
Can I tell you two things that I've been talking about with Glen Spey as we've been selecting them, releasing them, and pouring them in tastings? Number one is over the last 15 to 18 months, Glen Spey casks have been consistently the best quality across different lines, different casks, different styles. They're consistently good. And it really has turned our heads, and why we keep cycling back to Glen Spey. The second thing that I say to people is, nobody has heard of Glen Spey. And when they see it, it looks like it came from a marketing bingo card, right? Glens, Scotland's known for Glens. We've heard of that. The Spey, that's a famous whiskey river. Oh, Glen Spey, we'll sell millions and retire, right? And I think Glen Spey, because people have never heard of it and then they see it, they're a little bit weary of it or leery of it. And so one of the things I've been making sure to say to people is this distillery was launched and named Mill of Rothes in 1878, right? Oh, wow. So you've got a distillery from 1878 in front of you. Now, there was a name change, right? In 1887, this distillery became Glen Spey. Right? So look at the history you've got there, right? Look how long this has been Glen Spey. And I would argue that didn't come from a marketing bingo card, right? Like, I think that probably came from geographical points around the distillery. So once people hear 1878 Mill of Rothes and then a name change 1887, they're like, oh, so I haven't heard about it, but it's not like it was built 2 minutes ago and is just a marketing project. So I think that history helps people to feel safer, to feel more content with the distillery. It still doesn't change the fact that nobody hears about it because Diageo doesn't market it, and you'll only occasionally find it in a Flora and Fauna bottling. But then that puts it in the family with a Dalyuen, where we love our Dalyuens. And now the nation asks, when's the next Dalyuen coming? So I've told people Glen Spey is our challenge. We want people to be asking for Glen Spey.
There you go.
Great story, Jason.
Cheers, man.
I know the confusion goes on with the Speyside distillery and the Spey distillery, right? Like, So maybe next name of the distillery would be Glen. In this case, everything's
right.
Beautiful dram.
Could you imagine? Yeah, it's so great. So what did you pour in your glass, Sam?
Well, I'm just trying to catch up with you guys. I do see the Glen Spey here in my glass.
Nice.
Okay. So, I don't know, I get some oak spice, some coffee, some toffee notes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it really lands the plane. Yeah, it shows rich on the flavometer, shows good oak presence, and then a balance among sweet, nutty, spicy, earthy. Like it's that balance that I think serves it really well. Yeah, really well. Yeah, that showed really well. You mentioned in the intro, Joshua, about my travels. Last week I was in San Francisco and I got to pour 6 of the retail release 15, both for Women in Whiskey Bay Area and at Fog City Social at the Rincon Center. And actually I did a private event in between that, and I poured another one of the retail offerings, but I'm going to hold off on mentioning that one just now. I'll very quickly say in my glass, I've got the Glentalkers 16-year-old. And listeners know I'm a Glentalkers fan. One of the things I always say is, and you were mentioning Whiskey Geek tours earlier, Sam, when we take a Whiskey Geek tour to Scotland, first night, first whiskey bar, I buy the group a round of Glentalkers. Whatever the Glentalkers is behind the bar, that's what I pour for the group. First dram is how we kick this off. And invariably people say, I've never heard of this. And then they very quickly say, this is delicious. They thoroughly enjoy it. Every whiskey bar we go to the rest of the week, the group asks for Glentalkers. What Glentalkers do you have at your bar? But another one where there's no official bottling. You may go around the Pernod Ricard distilleries and you may see a 50 cl special release of it, but you're not going to see the lineup on a shelf. And so independent bottlers, just like your Glen Spey, independent bottlers are the way to get to your Glentalkers. And once you get to Glentalkers, it becomes a favourite distillery. You know, it's rich, it's unctuous. People were talking to me about maple syrup on this. They were thinking about pouring it over pancakes. You know, it's another heavy, rich dram. And at 16 years old, still comes in at 60%, which you would not expect. And then you taste it and you go, it doesn't hit like 60%. It's like, no, we wouldn't select it if it did. So there's a lot in that package. And I think the PX Sherry Barrique, 3 years of the 16, lends just such a warmth, a richness, a heft to the Glentalkers.
So the high ABV, does it, in this age, does it have to do with the fact that they bring it to the cask maybe a little bit higher than usual 63.5?
That would be my guess. Yeah, that'd be my guess. Especially because they're not going to be filling with a single malt in mind. They're going to be filling with a blending item in mind. Mm-hmm. They're not as focused on the lower end. And from 16 years ago, puts you at 2010. 2010 in Scotland, casks were becoming harder to find. So if you had your new spirit and you put it into a cask at a higher strength, you would have been able to save on the number of casks you needed to bring in. And so I think we're right in the wheelhouse where we're going to be seeing this more and more. I think it's worth keeping in our minds as we're looking at ABVs for single casks.
Interesting.
Makes me so happy.
And then the final side, do we want to do liquid or Joshua?
Go for it, sir. Yeah. Go for it if that's of interest to you.
Liquid is one of my favorite space items. So this is 18-year-old liquid.
Let me see. I got a picture for us here. Look at that.
Honestly, I don't remember coming across a liquid that I didn't like when it comes to like single cask specifically bottling. It's just really that space cider that blenders love because it marries well with other components of the blend. It's just really like delicate. But I just recently heard this or read a story about when it was open, and then I think the owner's son took over about 18 years, and they were doing the remodeling. He wanted to make sure that all stays the same. So like spider net is there, like he would not let cut the trees around the distillery, like everything. And that's why, they think that liquid is the same, never changed since then.
Interesting. Yeah,
but this specific one, I got some dark chocolate, maybe cacao, and I don't know if it's due to maybe Spanish sherry cask. Some malt sweetness to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, you've got the heavier fruitiness of the spirit, but then it's the final 4 years is Spanish oak Oloroso, which is good. Like chocolate is, I think, synonymous with Spanish oak Oloroso. Like it always brings in that chocolatey note with that type of wood.
And what's interesting about this specific cask, the sherry does not overpower the elegance of
exactly.
It just this balance was great.
Yeah.
Not as I like 18 as a number on the bottle, but it just was right. Yeah. I thought if you kept it for another year or so, you might have overpowered this delicacy,
which is the thing
of liquid.
Which is the thing we're always keeping an eye on, right?
Yeah.
Where is the spirit with the cask? What's interesting is looking back across these first three, Glenspey 14, Glentocker 16, and Linkwood 18, I would say about each of these three distilleries and each of these three spirits, they take as well to bourbon as they do to sherry. Yeah. And I think that's really interesting hearing that in our own comments today around these three whiskies. Really cracking. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I know that you make a decision where to bottle it, but who makes the decision as to re-reckon it into another cask?
So because we're still in the early days of acquisition, so we're coming to these casks with the Artisanal Spirits Company spirits team. And so they've put things into cask before we were ever acquired by them. So we're going through these, discovering these for the first time. As we go forward, we will have a role to play in the re-racking or what's available, how do you want it to stay. And so one of the things we're always saying in our selections is we're looking for full maturation first. What can we taste? Full maturation. Then what can we taste that's double maturation? And we know there's some wiggle room with that language, but basically a longer secondary maturation. So we like to find things that are 6 years in a secondary cask, 5 years, and I've said 4 years, just like this Linkwood 18-year-old. Mm-hmm. So longer secondaries really work for us. And then we maybe go to what does a year or two look like? Certainly for tasting, maybe not for selecting, but then we maybe put that cask to the side with a Single Cask Nation sticker on it. And we say, we'd like to keep an eye on that one. We'd like to check the evolution of that one. And I think it's the thing that gives us autonomy within this shared brand scenario. And I think consumers have really taken to that quite quickly as well. I've heard people say, hey, I still love my Scotch Malt Whisky Society. I still love my Single Cask Nation. It's interesting how you put out different styles, different casks, different flavors. It's like, yeah, two different groups of people are selecting. That's how that works.
Yeah, so my next question or comment was like, there's no any fights between Scotch Malt Whisky Society and Single Cask Nation over the cask.
We've got plenty of casks for sharing. We're all good friends.
Yeah, I did try to make up a story about monkey knife fights, but no one believed me.
Certainly not the monkeys.
But Sam, your point about the cask not overtaking the Linkwood, I was going to say that about the Glentockers. Like, despite all that sherry on the Glentockers, that floral quality is still there. And then I looked at what we had for the flavometer on the side, and it's 3 out of 10, despite the sherry. right? And so it gets back to, we talk about this all the time in our tastings. The Single Cask Nation calling cards are first and foremost mouthfeel, texture. That's what we're looking for. That's why, at 60.1% alcohol on the Linkwood, it's not lighting your face on fire because there's the oils to protect, right?
Exactly.
And then even if there is 3, 4, 5, 6 years in sherry, the spirit character is still there. We can't hide it. Like, the distillery name is on the label for a reason. We're stewards of that brand. So it's really, these are very important things to us. So revisiting this is so nice to, experience that all over again.
So I was just going to say exactly a very similar point to that was last week. I did what I do in a lot of my tastings. I was opening bottles for the first time in this release that we selected months ago, even back last year.
Yeah.
And as I'm pouring it and I'm talking to people about it, I've got my nose in it and I'm tasting it, and then I suddenly go, oh wow. And this was on the Glentalkers. I went, oh wow. And it stopped me in my tracks. And I said to people, I know I select these with Joshua and with Jess, and I know we put these in front of our importer, and our importer ImpEx brings it in for us. But time can pass and you can forget what you've selected. Not forget, but you don't remember the exact precise aha moment. And I had a precise aha moment in front of this group. And I said, I hope you don't think I'm blowing smoke up my own ass, but it's just one of those like, oh, that's a really good whiskey. Oh, that's a single cask. Oh, that was selected by the J team. Oh,
it's great. And, I just put some Glentalkers because you both made me, because now and I could see how oily it is.
Right.
And it's just beautiful. And I thought it was more like due to PX cask, I believe it is, or one of the sherry casks. Yeah, PX sherry.
Yeah, PX sherry.
Yeah, PX on that.
Now you're saying the viscosity, that the oiliness, the mouthfeel comes from the distillate itself. It's so beautiful.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Right. Cheers, Sam. Yeah, it's right there. Oh, it's as soon as people tell you about pouring whiskey over pancakes, you've got a good spirit.
If you see the oiliness of it, it's just probably not the right
there we
glass.
go.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
There we go. Yeah, viewers can see all those oils.
Unmistakable.
Yeah. I love that. So great.
All right, Mr. Hatton.
Yeah, so let me ask you guys this. Obviously going in order is the right and just thing to do. However, I'm about to pour something peated, and it is going to be a big, funky peated whiskey. So if either of you don't have a peated whiskey in the chamber, then maybe we should go with one of you.
I also went peated, so hold off on me. I think maybe Sam might be up.
Sam, do you have a peated?
So I have the Milton Dove here. I thought it would be before that, but I'm okay with putting which one, the peated you're talking about, the RØDE.
No, let's do your Milton Duff. Let's do your Milton Duff, and then we'll go
I'm not
peated.
Breaking the scenario.
No,
we're gentlemen. We're gentlemen, Sam.
So genius. That's so great, Joshua. Always. So. With this Milton Dove, I thought, we used to have times when we would geek off, like geek out on a lot of things. Like, we don't have time now, but I always enjoyed those moments that I would call you, Joshua, have you heard of Nastawi? Oh, yeah, that's Milton Dove.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know how bored your little listeners would be when we go with some names like, Kregaila or Craig Dove and this, stuff.
Right.
But that's something that I really enjoyed because A, I learned a lot, and B, I have those in my collection, so at least I know what they're about. Those are closed distilleries and will never be opened, but the name is great. Like, and then one of them was Glenbergie, and then that would be Craig something, Craig Guile, or I don't remember now.
Wow.
But it's good that Milton Dove, especially when you named it plus Carton Abbey.
Oh, yeah, we had to.
Garden Abbey, yeah. The
we had to call it Plus Garden Abbey, or at least we thought we did. And then we found out we didn't have to call it Plus Garden Abbey.
Yeah, I asked him in Texas, saying, what's so, is it like woolen or it's continuous? But actually, I kind of had fun, but that's good because I had a group of people, like high rollers, at my warehouse, and they liked it a lot, but they said, is that the new distillery? Yeah, it's a new distillery. It's only 22 years old. Anyways, this Milton Dove.
Yeah, I'm really pleased we can have the official name on this label.
Some stone fruit, yeah, on those.
Right, yeah. It's a strange one. Well, I shouldn't say it's a strange one, right? I mean, yeah, that bright citrusy kind of quality is Milton Duffy. But the cask type is a strange one because it's this STR cask that was then seasoned with Oloroso sherry.
Yep.
Which is sort of an unusual so STR, so you've got the French oak, and then season it with Oloroso, then dump the Oloroso, and then put the Milton Duff in there, and that was for 5 years.
So isn't it a dumb question to ask, so did it go to Jerez to be seasoned there, and then went to Scotland, or?
It's a good question. I don't have the answer for it. It's a spot-on question.
Visited sherry cask, sherry producers in Spain at some point, right? A few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Interesting to see, but maybe it's regardless. I get some caramel, maybe even burnt brown sugar.
Yeah, 100%.
Brioche or something. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. 22 years old. Right on the spot.
This is like dried papaya for me, like all the dried tropical fruits, dried papaya and guava and mango, and like even dried cantaloupe. Like it's incredibly fruity, but the dried form of those tropical fruits, it's very unusual.
Yeah,
as much as I love disagreeing with you, but dry fruits is here, like for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I was just checking the flavometer on that one as you're talking about those dry tropical fruits. You would think that would maybe bring a floral quality to it, and we've got a 3 on the flavometer there. So the beginnings of that suggestion.
Cool. No, it's a really solid dry.
And some listeners, some viewers may know this. Maybe they don't know this, but we often fight about the floral rating. And so for it to be 3, I tend to be a bit conservative.
I was going to say I would quite happily go to 4 on this.
I know you would. And I'm happy with the 3.
It smells like a compromise. Yeah, we've got a fuller episode in the chamber about the flavometer that'll come out in the future. That was a great conversation the J team had around the flavometer. I think the nation's going to really love that conversation. But back to today, so layered and absolutely, Sam, when you talk about the burnt brown sugar, the warm brown sugar, I just think this has got layers, right? Was it Walt Whitman who said, "I contain multitudes"? I think that's this whiskey in a nutshell.
I thought that was Thanos, wasn't it? Thanos saying that?
Oh, your contemporary cultural knowledge, Joshua.
But I mean, this is so Milton Duffy, but the extra time in cask has really rounded out a lot of that classic Milton Duff spice. Like I think back to the 16-year-old Plus Garden Abbey that we did, which had that Milton Duff spice. This has rounded that out in a really lovely way.
Yeah, warm.
You getting some chocolate here as well, or it's me?
No, I can be talked into chocolate quite easily.
That's chocolate shavings. We all disagree. I know. I knew it's coming. Because I get chocolate.
Very milky, very light chocolate, right?
Chocolate, yeah.
Almost milky Duff.
Milky Duff.
Now I've become wondering and a little bit worried. Like, you agree, Josh? What's going on? Maybe you should change it. Check your palate. Really nice stuff. I'm glad.
Yeah, sweet and rich really leads the charge on the flavometer, the rest in balance there as well. But the
I want to
layers
thank
are...
both of you because I'm taking a day off after drinking with you. Nothing new. But I worked Saturday, so I don't feel bad. I actually feel really good.
There you go. Little do listeners and viewers know, it is currently 7 a.m. in California for Sam.
I thought it was 5, Joshua. 5 a.m. That's not time.
You can't drink all day if you don't start early. So kudos to Sam for starting early.
Yeah, well done, yeah. No, we jest. All right. Yeah, that Sam, that was I'm really glad that you picked that one.
Good call.
Because I just opened that. So, like you, Jason, when you were talking about having that aha moment with the Glen Talkers, being reminded of why you selected a cask is pretty great.
Well, and also quite striking that we went through the four Speyside there as well. To now have kind of maybe another couple that will squeeze into today's conversation, but moving away from Speyside, given that we're moving into the peated realm here, I know we're moving away from Speyside. But this, I think, if the two that we're moving into really makes sense of what I was saying previously about the full maturation. So these two peateds are full maturation. So, I think I know which one I've got up my sleeve, but which one have you got there, Joshua?
So I have picked. Let me put it up on the screen here for viewers. Sorry, listeners. You know what you have to do. Go to the YouTubes. There we go. This is our RØDE Vor 11-year-old.
Yep.
And this is all 11 years in first fill sherry. Interestingly enough, I remember the paperwork didn't specify the type of sherry.
It did not.
It just said first fill sherry.
No, I said that to people in San Francisco. It was red and it smelled like sherry. So in Scotland, it was sherry. That's it, right? Just like we do our bourbons, we just do our sherries. And so it was red.
Yeah.
It was delicious. It's a sherry cask.
So for those that don't know, RØDE Vor is Glenturret's heavily peated spirit. And I discovered this somewhat recently. Maybe you guys know this already. I imagine you guys know this already because you're both smarter than me, but I just learned this somewhat recently. RØDE Vor is peated to 80 ppm.
That's the numbers.
Yeah, that's like, aside from Octomore, that's higher than any other, Isla distillery. And this is Highland peated whiskey. So this is
a wild number. Absolutely wild.
Up there.
You have to think about your 40 ppms coming off of Isla, your 35 ppms coming off of Isla, and this Highland peat at 80. Yeah, it doesn't, I don't think, nose like it at all. The one for me is you take that full term maturation in the sherry, and I told people, all week long, this to me tastes like the whiskies I was cutting my teeth on in the 1990s. Like, this has an older style single malt quality to it. Yeah. And I think it's that really getting to settle into the sherry. And then obviously a Highland peated barley happening there makes me so incredibly happy. The other thing to tell people is Glenturret are doing away with RØDE Vor, with the peated make. So every cask of RØDE Vor you see is among the last casks. Now, I don't know if the last casks are 1,000, 3,000, 10,000, but they're only going towards zero. So I don't know how much longer we see RØDE Vor floating around, but know that it is a diminishing make. And one way to make people fall in love with your distillery is to close it. So, more and more people are going to discover and fall in love with RØDE Vor as it is diminishing. So, good luck with that.
I was always having a parallel between like Tobermory and Lechek and Glenturret and RØDE Vor. But I feel this one specifically, but all of them were great. But this one is meaty to me. There's some earthy, ashy feel to it. But that's where I would say dark chocolate, almost bitterness of which is in a good way, bitterness.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate I get from this one. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely meaty, definitely hefty, definitely savory as well. Looking at the rich, and you alluded to this a moment ago, Joshua, with our conversations around the flavometer, but a 9 out of 10 on rich. People always say, have you done a 10? Well, once you do a 10, where do you go from 10? So this 9 is kind of 9.8 on rich.
And RØDE Vor for me is almost like the Coroni rum, or Caroni, however you want to pronounce it, the Coroni rum of whiskeys, because you've got two opposite ends of the spectrum. And I think sometimes it could be that funky tire fire style, which definitely ticks the boxes for some fetishists, right? People really love that funky style. And then you're on this side, which you've got that meatiness, Sam, that you were talking about, that savoriness, Jason, that you were talking about. But there's this sweet, fruity quality that I'm getting as well. Like beneath that, I'm getting stewed apples. I'm getting like poached pears, but with a ton of nutmeg and a ton of cinnamon. And, you know, there's a lot of fruit there, but it's deep and it's dark and it's concentrated, like really concentrated.
Yep.
I find it drier, long finish, but drier. Like it's not the dessert whiskey. It's something that is savory, like Jason said. It's this kind of thing that you want to put in your mouth one more time and one more time and one more time.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would also imagine for cigar smokers that would be a complimentary dram.
Oh my gosh, yes. And let's be clear here. This is 62.2% alcohol. Doesn't drink like that in the slightest.
Don't feel
even
any
close.
alcohol at all. We'll feel it later, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and 307 bottles, so a very full cask as well.
Yeah.
You know, for this first fill sherry hogshead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot going on in there. Yeah, that's good to draw attention to that one. No doubt
Back
about it.
really quickly, Jason, before you go to yours, you spoke before, and I think it was, oh jeepers, was it the Glen Spey? Yeah, it was the Glen Spey, where the nutty, spicy, and earthy had that full balance, all
block.
6 on the flavometer. With this RØDE Vor, earthy, smoky, and oaky are all 7 on the flavometer, right? You have that balance between those 3 aspects of flavor.
Yeah, it's a solid dram. Yep.
Yeah.
It was an easy one to pour. I poured that throughout the event at Fog City Social, and people were like, I'm getting that one. Or they were bringing their friends over, try this one. Yeah. And again, nobody really knew what RØDE Vor was. We're still doing the evangelism, you know, that evangelism we talked about in 10, 11, 12, we're still doing it. It's not going away.
It just, for our viewers too, it looks like Ruad Mahor, but it's RØDE Vor. That's Scots Gaelic. There you go.
yes, we're the only one who knows
gives
how
you
to
the
pronounce it. Maybe Jason. But knowing how important for you both is this texture of the whiskey. Take a look how oily it is. I know that.
Yeah.
Let me zoom in on you. Hold on.
Continue bringing it up, but I think that's super important. This mouthfeel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at those legs.
Take a look. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, ethanol is lipophilic. I say it in all my tastings. When it enters your mouth, it's looking for fat. It often finds fat on your taste buds. If you bring the oil in with your spirit, now it's bound to those fats. Now you're protecting your taste buds. Now you're not getting that so-called alcohol prickle. Maybe you find the alcohol prickle in a 40 or a 43 colored, chill filtered, globally available offering. Because there's nothing protecting you from the ethanol. So don't be afraid of the 58s, the 60s, the 62s. if you're with people who are looking for oily spirit.
So if this is lipophilic and it's looking for fats, seeing as I've gained a couple pounds, is that why it's even more viscous?
Look, you had a lovely weekend with Haida, okay? I'm not, if she's able to find a couple of extra pinch points, that's between you two. I'm not going to say a single word.
But see what you both did. This is the second road bar that I'm putting.
Oh, cheers. Cheers.
And what I noticed, I haven't added any water to any of the expressions that we tasted so far.
Same.
Cheers.
Same.
Yep. Cheers. Yeah. And that's, that's what we do when we select. We don't add water to the whiskeys. We just gauge the cask for what it is. I think when we release rums, quite often we'll add water because we'll get those at a 70+% alcohol, and quite often we'll bring that down to an ABV that we feel it drinks best at. But yeah, we're looking for those oils, and we select based on the sample that we get without the addition of water. So the fact that you're doing that as well and not needing to add water, you're having the experience we are, which is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah. At the same time, freely say to people, if your palate would prefer water, add water for your palate. We're not precious about water in whiskey. And I've even joked with people, like, if you're buying Single Cask Nation bottles on the reg and you're putting it with ginger ale or Coke, enjoy it, right? Life's hard. Enjoy it. But keep buying from Single Cask Nation, That's what we'd really appreciate.
Makes the whiskey smoother, right, Joshua?
Sam, God, I thought we were friends.
Yeah,
the bubbles are too prickly. They take away from the smooth.
That's why I have the luxury to saying that, because we're friends. You're not going to throw the rock at me from Connecticut.
I'm going to upload it to my computer here. You're going to feel it any second.
All right. We've all got different things we're doing today. Let me get us out of here on this one. I definitely don't want to leave the Lochranza 9 out of the conversation, the Knockdo 10 out of the conversation. Great single casts in their own right. I'm taking us out of here on the Williamson, which people have said to me, why Williamson? Is that a distillery? Where's the distillery? And I always say, Williamson is the nod, and it's such a wonderful nod to Bessie Williamson, who inherited the distillery from Ian Hunter, and then was responsible for that distillery in the 50s, the 60s, before some of us were born. I hope there's some in our listenership who were born in those decades. But being able to give a nod back to Bessie Williamson is fantastic for that wonderful Lafroig distillery. So cask type, full maturation here, refill bourbon barrel, the type of thing I love taking ownership for when it comes to Islay Spirits. Josh Hodis, one of our longtime Nation supporters in LA, is a refill bourbon barrel guy as well. This is what he looks for in Islay whiskies. I also think Bikram at Norfolk Wine and Spirits is a refill bourbon guy.
Big time. He wants direct access to that spirit.
Exactly. And that's what it's unlocking here. But from where we've just been, and from what you were just commenting, a mere 58.1% alcohol. We could give this to children in Scotland.
Mm-hmm. You waited until I had the liquid in mouth. Near spit take.
I did. I listen. I don't even have to look at the camera anymore. I just listen to how you taste, and I know exactly when to drop the spit take.
That
I
is
would
so
add
light
another
and
name,
fruity.
which you're familiar with, Anthony Wills, whose dream was to open the Isle Farm distillery. And he said at one point, Sam, if I had to if it was up to me, I would just do Islay whiskey in bourbon casks. That's all.
There you go. Right? Gosh. And to think how well known Sineg is, and to think how well known Loch Gorm is, Absolutely, bourbon is the winner.
I'm pretty sure his sons had to make some efforts in doing a job for him to understand that we're in business, not only enjoying the whiskey, but selling whiskey. And there's a good spectrum of clientele that want those low bones and sun eggs and port matured and etc. But this is actually great. I don't know. I would question. We should have probably tried this one and then Road War, you think?
Well,
or this is a little bit different.
I'm glad we did it this way. And the reason for that is this is now coming off, like we're now experiencing the fruitier side of this distillery because of that other experience. I think we would have missed out on some of these notes if we hadn't tasted that Røde Vor first. So now it's a lighter experience, right? And the first thing I tasted was what seemed like to me an older style of Laughing Frog, Williamson, the distillery I'm talking about.
Are you talking like 90s? Is that what you're getting at here?
Yeah, like it almost reminds me of, and again, this could very well be just contextual because we had that heavier, meatier Røde Vor, but it has elements of the 10-year-old Laphroaig that we released in 2017, 2018, somewhere around there, which was a,
took on life of its own.
Huge, fruity whiskey. And I remember people asking us, why would we buy your 10-year-old cask strength Laphroaig when Laphroaig has their own 10-year-old cask strength? We say, you go ahead and taste these side by side. And there was no question asked. They were understood. We will buy yours. Thank you very much. It's just, that's the beauty of independently bottled whiskey. You get to see a side of a distillery that the distillery doesn't always show you.
Yep. Exactly.
Now we're getting into arguing stage, Joshua, when we're arguing about the pudding water, which is great. Love it. But also, I know that you having troubles pronouncing this frog, whatever. So I can freely say that, as I've heard the story, the Williamson was a lady who used to be a master distiller.
So that's Bessie. Yeah, so that's Bessie who inherited the distillery.
Right. Yes.
From Ian Hunter.
Sorry if I
love that.
If I let the cat out of the box, but.
No.
It's unmistakable Laphroaig, like with the medicinal notes, with this white pepper, but it's really Laphroaig. Single Cask Nation. Williamson, Williamson.
But listen, I say this to people all the time.
Whiskey does to you, you just...
Truth juice. But no, I say this to people, like a quarter of a second's worth of Googling will tell you that Williamson on a whiskey bottle is Laphroaig. Like a quarter of a second. The only thing Laphroaig don't want is their name Laphroaig on this label. That's the only thing they don't want. For us to say Williamson is named for Bessie Williamson and this tastes like a classic Laphroaig and this is different from the Laphroaig 10 cask strength is all on the table. All on the table.
Yeah. However, a Google search might return a result saying that Williamson is a blended malt or a teaspooned
which would be
malt.
Erroneous.
Yes. This is single malt Scotch whiskey. There's no teaspooning. There's no blending here. This is completely single malt Scotch whiskey. Yeah. So
I think where the error came in there is that it used to be the blending stock from Laphroaig, without it being a blended malt from Laphroaig. And I think some people kind of got that twisted a little bit. And so, this is single malt Scotch from the distillery that Bessie Williamson inherited mid-20th century. But it's full access, right? It's full access on refill bourbon. And I think if you want to gain access to the spirit from that distillery, this is the way to access this. This is an absolute go-to for me. This is an everyday dram.
Yeah. some people like the PX, Lafroigs, and other things like Chase and other stuff. I think if you're talking about the pure form of this Islay distillery, with all the Band-Aid and iodine and medicinal notes and white pepper and some ashy notes that I get here, and some bonfire, bourbon cask is the way to go, for sure.
The second I poured it, Beach Bonfire was just occupying this portion of my desk.
Yeah.
That was exactly, and then you bring it up to the nose, and it's smoky bacon crisps or bacon frazzles as you see them in the UK.
It's so funny. I'm having like citrus fruits. I'm getting
there you go.
Like yuzu and kiwi and all these light, gorgeous fruits going on. And you guys are iodine and Beach Bonfire, and it's amazing how we can all have so right. This is the beautiful of in the complexity of Scotch whiskey. There's so many things you can find in it, right?
Let me check you on this citrus component.
I love Sam doing all of his
that's what you do.
due diligence.
That's the second pour. I got some citrus peel. Is that one?
There you go.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, like the zest of it, right?
Zest. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tell you what, though, Sam, you said white pepper, and I think that white pepper is just such a good note in here. That was so well said.
Such a great one. Congratulations.
That's delicious.
Really nice.
Really delicious. Oh, well. Thank you for importing it. Thank you for doing your part to help us sell it. It's a pleasure working with you to put wonderful whiskies into the ImpEx portfolio, and we remain honoured to be members of that portfolio.
And for your entire team going out and selling it, working with your distributor network and working to get it on the shelves and helping to get it off the shelves. Like it's this circular job that is nonstop. And not everybody gets to see that, but it's bringing it in and it's selling it to the distributor and it's selling it to the retailer and it's going to the retailer and selling it to the customer. Like you guys do the hard miles, and it's been 15 years now that we're together, and I can't tell you how special it is, Sam. So we raise our glass to you and to the entire ImpEx team.
Thank you so much.
Even to Chris. Even to Chris.
Yeah.
Even to Chris.
Yeah.
Even to Chris.
It's an easy job to do, actually, because, needless to say, Melissa loves you. Jason, California, loves you. We call it your second home. I don't know.
Cheers.
You're in Virginia, right? Aren't you in Virginia?
I am indeed. I am still in Virginia. Yep.
Coming here all the way like 2/3 of a country, even more. I appreciate that.
Cheers.
Joshua, Texas, you made the revolution there in terms of what Single Cask Nation is now versus what it was a few years ago. And on and on and on. And I know that at some point Joshua will invent your territory, Jason, because some people, specifically in California, want to see you.
It's true.
When I say
it's
Sam,
true.
it's just one. It's me.
We'll send him on the next trip. There you go.
Anyways, so you guys into our great tandem of working together and having fun. Cheers.
Brilliant, Sam. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Cheers.